Hello all. Thank you for coming.
Yes, I think we can go ahead and get started. This is an information session on Protocol Builder, a tool that is made available to Children's National and GW faculty and research teams. This information session has been organized by the Clinical and Translational Science Institute. We are a partnership between Children's National and George Washington, and our mission is to provide research support and infrastructure for clinical and translational research. Welcome everybody, thank you for calling in. Our message to you as always is we are your research support center. We have several services and tools available for you, so please reach out to us. This is a quick slide that will just mention some of them. We have services and tools for you that span the whole research life cycle, so that could bring you from the education piece with innovative workshops and programs and career development awards. We have study design support that spans biostatistics, bioinformatics, data management, and recruitment. We have funding opportunities, and I'll talk about one in particular at the end of this session. We support multi-site clinical trials. We have informatics tools in place for data extraction from EHRs, and we support also your dissemination to the broader community. Please reach out to us at any point of your research projects, and we'll be happy to assist you. Where we don't know how, or we don't have the right tool, we will also leverage the connections that we have to figure out if there are other ways, not in-house, but other ways that we can support. So feel free to reach out. I am very happy today to introduce Neil from Protocol Builder, who is going to be taking it over today and talking about this tool, talking about how this tool can support you. And also very pleased to welcome people both from Children's and from GW to this session. And please take it away, Neil.
Thank you very much, Stephanie, and thank you everybody for being here. Let me go ahead and bring the screen over to me.
Let me stop sharing.
Up and I can start sharing. Okie doke. Let me get over to PowerPoint and we'll get started. So thank you very much. Again, my name is Neil Allen. I am actually the Director of Sales for Protocol Builder, and I am the one that works directly with you guys to help both set up Protocol Builder and help get you the kind of support and stuff you need to get the most out of it. So we'll talk, first of all, we're going to do a short PowerPoint presentation, and then we're going to spend a good bit of time actually looking at the product itself so you can get a real feeling of what this product can do for you. So let me get rid of this screen for now. All right. So basically, the issues around, getting the GME scholarly activity done, is that it's difficult to find time for the residents and the support for them to actually, get down to their projects. And then, of course, protocols themselves are a pretty, difficult process. So one thing I want to point out today, when I'm talking about Protocol Builder, I'm going to have a bit of a GME slant to it, but we're also going to talk about basic stuff that's useful for any investigator. So even though I'm going to be talking with somewhat of a GME slant, because that's what we're focusing on today, you're going to see that Protocol Builder has support for interventional, combos with FDA, risk. So you're going to see that we have really everything you will need. So these tools will, even though I'm going to talk about residents more specifically, the tools for general investigators are very, very powerful, and we'll be covering that as well. So, basically, what is Protocol Builder? Well, Protocol Builder basically is like a TurboTax for creating IIT protocols, investigator-initiated trial protocols. And obviously that's something that that many people who are getting their accreditation have to get done to do. They have to do a scholarly activity to be certified in their area. So Protocol Builder is a tool that helps create the protocols. But besides that, you're going to see that we're also offering a great deal of online training for not just how to create a protocol, but even how to do research in general. So we're going to talk about tools that we're offering, such as City's Research Study Design Program as part of the Protocol Builder platform that help you train your GME folks without having to spend so much time yourself. So just so you know a little about us, basically Protocol Builder was developed by the Biomedical Research Alliance of New York. Our acronym is BRAINY. We're actually owned by these 4 nonprofit institutions. And basically we were set up to offer basically research administration and research compliance support. Protocol Builder is actually the smallest part of BRAINY. BRAINY has its own independent IRB and consulting services. City program is part of BRAINY. HRP Consulting is part of BRAINY. So we have a lot of expertise to work from. This is why we ended up seeing the problem for protocols and how we decided to address it. And you're going to see that Protocol Builder is actually used by a great number of great institutions, starting right off here with Children's National. This is not everybody by any means. I mean, we also now have the U.S. Army, Yale, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. So a lot of folks are finding that Protocol Builder is a really useful tool. And the GME side is one of the areas they find it the most useful because they have a lot of problems in that area. So what are the problems with these doing protocols? Well, first of all, it's a difficult process, a lot of paperwork, and, most people would rather do something else. And then the issue is that if you put poorly written protocols into the system, the IRB process, then they tend to bog down. Sometimes they never even get it done. Some investigators just give up. So again, that can really be hard for everybody in the system. And then, of course, as I've been saying, residents, new investigators are the most challenging because they don't have experience in this way. And, most people are using, Word as the predecessor. And while Word's a good tool, it's not particularly great for guidance or training or collaboration even on these kinds of things. So in seeing these problems, basically, BRAINY decided to develop Protocol Builder. So for the investigators, what makes Protocol Builder a really strong thing for you guys to consider is, and it's much, much nicer than Word, you're going to see some really, really strong collaboration tools. You're going to see that we're doing things for you that it used to be a lot of work, like the references, table of contents, all that stuff gets generated automatically by Protocol Builder by what you put in the content areas. And you're going to see that we have a full range of help and guidance, at all times, everywhere from video trainings to very intense guidance on almost every point of the protocol. So again, this helps get you to where you want to go. So, and then as I mentioned before, it's part of a system. You're going to see that we have the City Research Design Training, which actually teaches the basics of research. So it gets them ready. By the way, this particular course from City gives a certificate. So there are a number of accounts of ours that are basically telling their residents, you need to complete this course and get the certificate before you go to the next step. So that can work out really well. And then we have, you'll see that we have a lot of guidance and then the right types of templates that they would need, for obviously for residents to be chart view, maybe QA, QI, or observational. If you're doing interventional research, as I'll show you, we have, interventional combos with significant risk or whatever you might need. Okay. What's been interesting for folks, and this is based on some independent studies, that working with their residents, people are finding it saves them a lot of time and money to use this approach rather than Word, just because it's a lot more straightforward. And the reason I use TurboTax as an example is because it's just really, really clear. So here are the templates that are available right now. Again, we really, as far as we know, we're covering almost everything we can think of. Here your observational and QA, QI, our interventionals, social behavioral, and we support the NIH grant templates as well. Okay. As again, I have mentioned a little bit about this research study design course. It exists in your city program library, but this course is activated now for both of your institutions. Here are basically the chapter what each one covers. So you can see it really covers all the basics, right up through, different things about surveys, statistical thinking, data management. So it's giving them a really good basis to work from. Okay, so I'm going to show you now, we're going to get right into Protocol Builder. The main thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to show you, this really easy to use, formula. You're going to see the enhanced guidance and some of these special tools that you just don't see in Word that make life a lot easier. So getting away now from PowerPoint, let's go to Protocol Builder itself. And here we are in Protocol Builder, and now I'm going to start over at the front page. Now, both of your organizations have a page that basically notes Protocol Builder. And so what you can do is there's a link to click on that will let you, get into Protocol Builder. For people that have not signed up the first time, that same link will be the sign up link, and then becomes the sign in link, unless you have, which I think. I don't think anybody has the single sign-on. I should remember, look that one up. But nevertheless, once we are actually in Protocol Builder, this is the first screen you see. And hopefully what you're going to be noticing here is that this is a really easy, simple, clean program to both learn and relearn. Why would I say relearn? Well, a regular investigator might only do a protocol once every 2 years or 3 years. So, unlike something like Outlook, which is really hard to use, but I use it every day for many, many hours, you just deal with it. But we decided to make this a very clean and easy program to learn and use so that, you won't have to really be an expert at everything in this. So that's why the first place I'm going to start us is up, and this is our tool ribbon area up at the top, and I'm going to start us up at Help and Training. Call it help, but it's really help and training. You're going to see that we have a number of pre-recorded videos. And by the way, today's training is also being recorded specifically for you guys. So we have a number of trainings that are available for you 24/7. The starting new protocol is kind of a 5-minute quick start. The introductory user training is actually about a 50-minute in-depth training with chapter heads. So you can click on different chapters to deal with each of the elements of going from creating to outputting your protocol. And then we have a number of other topics a little more advanced that we do separate trainings on, and we're doing more of these. So we're trying to make it easy for people to learn and use. And it is interesting, we've noticed a lot of our trainings have been hit between 2 and 4 in the morning, which I consider resident hours, resident whatever they're doing. So we have that. By the way, we do have a help desk that's open 12 hours a day, Monday through Friday, Eastern time, 9 to 9. And we're always there. But just to give you a note, last month was the highest September use ever for Protocol Builder, and we only had 7 support calls. So fortunately, we don't need a lot of support, but if you need it, it's there. And again, usually when somebody needs it, there's something due tomorrow or something. So people really like that we are really trying to stay on top of the service. Now, we also offer live trainings like this twice a month. You can sign up for them. They're free. So feel free to do that. We have a Take a Tour, which is kind of a screen-oriented walkthrough, a user guide, which is a text-oriented walkthrough, and FAQs, which deal with some technical issues. We don't have many of them, but deal with things like if you cut and copy from paste, if you cut and paste from Word, but Word had track changes on, it's going to bring over some characters you didn't see, which could show up in your stuff. So stuff like that, that we cover. So again, we really try to give you a lot of support right on the spot here. Now we have another area, the resource area, which is a bit different. This is resources that people who typically do research might find really useful. And again, especially useful for your new investigators that just don't know this stuff. So, we have links to all the places you'd normally go. We have links to the clinical.gov, the glossaries that you may want to use. We, have links to FDA and NIH sample forms that we keep updated. We have information about COVID, resources for protocols and some new stuff with the common rule. And so this is just a great area to help your people learn about research and protocols and what they might want to do. So that's the resource center. Now, another area up here is our protocol file box, and this will have all the protocols that we created. But what's also really neat about this file box, and very different than Word, this will also have protocols that I am been made a collaborator in. So Belinda Ha here made me a collaborator in this pharmaceutical company's test, and so it automatically shows up in my box. So that is one of the neat things about Protocol Builder. You'll see other tools like that where the collaboration is just way nicer than what you would see with Word. All right, so you can see this is one place I could start a new protocol. The other place is actually this is the home screen button, of course, and I can start a new protocol from here. Before I do that, though, I'm going to show you the center here. These are the last 3 protocols I was working on. And the reason why they're here is, for most of us, that's all we're ever really working on at a normal time. So it's just a quick launch, just to make it easier than even having to go to the box. Okay, on the right over here, the blue bar. The information below the blue bar is from Protocol Builder. So, for example, we just announced, a new wizard, which I'm going to show you. We also announced a new NIH template for social behavioral. So that way people can see this stuff. The information above the blue bar would actually come from your organizations. So they would have anything specific to your organizations, any things they want to say. So this is where you would see that. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and start a new protocol, but before I do that, I'll give it a second in case there are any questions or anything that I didn't see any come through. Feel free to use the chat questions. Again, this session is really for you, but again, I want to make sure I answer everybody's needs. Okay, so I will go ahead and keep going. So if I want to go ahead and start a new protocol, as I mentioned, I can do it from one of 2 places, here or from inside the file box. And what I want to do is, just give it a title name. So I'll go ahead and give it that, and then we'll just call it that. And then we'll type in our principal investigator. Now, I could type myself in, but I don't have to. As long as it's somebody I've worked with before, I can type them in. So the reason you do it this way is I could be let's say, really a regular investigator assisting a principal investigator by setting this up. So that's why we let you do it this way. And then what you would do is you can just pick from the list of protocols the ones you want. Now, institution protocols are when we do customized protocol templates, and we're actually looking at that for your organizations as a possibility. But for now, you'll see just the ones under the master. So you would just pick the one that is most appropriate for your need. So again, if we're dealing with the GME world, a lot of times it's going to be the chart review or maybe QA/QI. Now, we also have this really nice wizard that we just reconstituted because we basically restructured all of our observational protocols to meet the new common rule. So we had to recreate our wizard. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go and show you this wizard really quickly. It's really straightforward. We try to make the instructions here as straightforward as possible because, again, these are people who have not used it. So it's just going to make it real simple. Is this the NIH? Is this, a QA/QI study? No. Is it a chart review study? If I say yes, it'll bring up chart review. But if I go no, I can go through until, I'm getting different kinds of now getting, to, is it an SBER one? Is it SBR interventional or not? Okay, no, it's not a behavioral study. It's an interventional study. So again, we're walking them through the point where they're going to get, exactly what it is they need. And then it'll pull up the relevant protocol template. So what happens is then it'll open it up into the cover page, and we can see some of the stuff we already typed in, and we can type in the rest of the cover page kind of stuff. Now, one of the things that we would do also is add personnel. But unlike some kind of Word or something, when we add people here, it's actually going to start an active collaboration. And as I say, add it right into their box. So if I wanted to add myself as a principal to this particular study, and since it knows me because I use my own machine a lot, I can go ahead and put that in, and I can sign a person up, and then I can give somebody basically one of 3 roles. Basically, writer lets them write to the whole protocol and add people to the list of collaborators. A reviewer can look at what's in the contents but cannot edit the contents and cannot add people to the study. None would just print that person's name in the protocol. Usually that's for like a VIP that would never look at Protocol Builder or anything. So normally you're going to use a writer like 99+% of the time. The only real reason to use reviewer is, let's say if this particular protocol was the cure for COVID, I mean, the real thing, this would be a very, very valuable and important protocol. So if I was the principal investigator, I might not want my medical monitor adding random people to this protocol, right? So that would be a reason why, people might want to use reviewer if it was a very high, very type of protocol that kind of might need that. But you're going to use writer the vast amount of time. By the way, one of the other things we can do that's really nice is, so if let's say I wanted to add Carol, okay, Carol to this particular protocol, and you can see it doesn't recognize Carol, okay, so it means I haven't used her before. So the way you do this, and this is how you would add in either somebody from inside your organizations or somebody even outside your organization. So what you first do is you would type in their email. Because always in Protocol Builder, your email is your username. So I'm going to go at gmail.com, and I'm going to hit search, and I'm going to get one of two answers. I'm either going to get user found or user not found. If I got user found and it's the right person, we say, okay, yeah, that's the right person. Then I just hit submit, and that person will be added to the study. And again, that person could be at Yale or anywhere else, okay? So, and then if they've entered in that stuff, for example, or if they should have their organization in there so it'll show up in the cover page correctly. Now, if it comes up with user not found, like it did here, I can choose to add this person to our account. And because of the way Protocol Builder we offer you unlimited users, unlimited protocols, so this has no impact financially on your institution, you would just go ahead and put in the starred ones, which are their first name and last name, the minimum. But if they're from another organization, I recommend you put in their organization and then put submit, and they'll be added to your account, and they will be added to the study. So you can bring in anybody you need, and it's totally legitimate too. So if you need to bring in somebody else on their account that doesn't have Protocol Builder, you can bring that person into Protocol Builder, your account, so you can collaborate with them as you need to do. So as you can see, we have a place for sponsors, we have a place for medical monitors, key study personnel, and research administrations who, typically research administrations' names are not printed in the protocol. And by the way, if I can have as many of any type of person as I want. If I need to add, I just use the gray circle. This is typical throughout Protocol Builder. When I want to add a section, like I want to add another space for an appendix, that's how I add it, is with the gray circle. So we try to be very consistent for ease of use sake. So what I would do is I would do all this stuff, and then I would save it. You do need to save the use of every page. If you try to move away from it without saving it, you'll get a warning. But you do need to actually choose to save it. Everything that's saved is saved into a non-editable audit log, which is one of the benefits of Protocol Builder from a IRB point of view. But again, we do make sure that's what you want. So I'll show you that a little bit later. So I'd hit save. And then when I do that, I'd be ready to work on the rest of the protocol. And basically, the menu button over here does just one thing. It brings up this table of contents that we can literally edit right into. And these are the sections we're going to edit into. Now,
Neil, just
so
one quick question. When you were talking about collaborators, I just wanted a clarification. Can we bring collaborators from institutions that don't have Protocol Builder, or is it only from institutions that do have it?
They do not have to have Protocol Builder. You do not have to worry about that. Those people that you add, if their email address does not show that they're in Protocol Builder, those people will be added to either the Children's or the George Washington account. That's why what we recommend though is you do put their organization, or they put their organization name in, so that when you actually do the protocol printout, it shows they came from X university and doesn't look like they came from yours. But yes, you are by contract allowed to bring in anybody you need to bring in to do your studies.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Great. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit more about editing, but to do so, I'm going to use an existing protocol with content in it because it's just a lot easier to show you the tools. So what I'm going to do is I'm clicking on the, or I could have done it from the front page, and I'm going to pick out retrospective review. All right. So here's one of the nice tools of Protocol Builder right off. Whenever I start an existing protocol, I launch it, I get these dashboards. And what they do is they go by major area and they give me a quick thumbnail impression about how filled out are they. And basically what it's telling you is, so if I click on the menu, now I can tell you how this works even more. So now you're seeing stuff you didn't see on that newer screen, these circles. So let me explain that now. So first of all, wherever you see a plus means there's subsections. So, rationale significance has had these subsections below it. Okay, so on the lowest subsection level, if you see at the lowest level, if you see this white line, if there's been like a white line here, that means that that section had never been entered into. If you see a gray circle like you see here with the blue backing, that means that that section's been entered into and is marked as draft. If you see a green circle, that means that that section has been entered into and marked as complete. And we're going to take a look at that. You're going to see, though, that even though we mark things as complete, we can go back later and change it back to draft if that's what we really think we're at. But this is just a tool to help us move to the point where we're getting, basically green circles on the cover, synopsis, and the numbered areas, which are the areas we fill out in Protocol Builder. And then what's going to happen is Protocol Builder is going to create the reference section for us in AMA format automatically. It's going to create the list of tables. It's going to create the abbreviations section for us based on what we put in here. And I'm going to show you how that's done in just a second. So that's one of the really nice things about Protocol Builder. So now, I've kind of come in here. And I'm going to go, we're going to do some editing now. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to go into primary objective. Okay, and now, so this is how the primary objective is set up to now. So before I actually go into editing, and I would do that by hitting edit, I'm going to show you one of the collaboration tools. This is a chat window that is basically available, and it's associated just this subsection. And this chat window stays with the Protocol Builder file forever. So this is a nice way to do some chatting on the side. It doesn't print in the protocol. But what's really nice about this is if you use, like some people were using Yahoo Chat, a couple of years ago. Well, nobody uses that anymore. You know what I mean? So they might have lost that conversation, where this conversation, since it's right at the sub level, could say, oh, didn't we talk about these statistical techniques? It's 2 years later, we got the study now, we can analyze it better. So this is one of the nice collaboration features. But I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to go into edit. And now you can see our editing. Now, most of the editing is done with a Microsoft Word knockoff box because, again, that's what people tend to know. So we want to keep it simple. But we do have special functions that Word does not do that well, and I'll get into those in a minute. First thing I want to point out to you, though, is the red circles are guidance. And our guidance, as you'll see guidance almost everywhere. But when it's on a content area like this, it normally comes from the NIH and or FDA or higher. So it's high level, really strong, guidance. And that's one of the real beauties of Protocol Builder. And by the way, the nice thing is our guidance is not in the edit box. We don't have things where you have to delete, things, or you get fooled by thinking that some guidance that was put in there before is actually, real entered into the, real entry into that content. So you can be more accurate about, really filling out your protocols. So there's our guidance. Now we can do, our regular editing, and then we have these special functions that I mentioned that Protocol Builder does particularly well. So one is we have our basically scientific symbol library, and it's just a lot easier to use than Word keyboards for that. We can create our abbreviations, which again will be printed at the end of the document, and set up the abbreviations for us. So we just highlight what we want to abbreviate, and then we would just say what it means, and then we'll save it. And then we'll see it pop up. I don't know why it's not popping up. Yeah, there it goes. And then it'll also, once we save the section, it'll be in the abbreviation section of the back. We can do the same thing with, glossary terms. And as you may have noticed, I actually, I had one of the things in the support area, in the resource area, were these, the clinicaltrials.gov glossary section. So again, we can just very, very quickly, whoops, that's not what I want to show you. Wrong button. We can very quickly create these our glossary terms for ourselves and just go ahead and save it. By the way, if you copy from formatted areas, if you paste as plain text, you will avoid ever having that kind of problem where sometimes you get weird characters that come over from Word or some other product. So I've created the glossary. Now, references are really, really nice in Protocol Builder. So I want to go ahead and create a reference. I can just create one on the fly easily and just go ahead and type in the information. But basically, if I'm doing a protocol, chances are I already have all my references, and I probably got them in things like, EndNote and Zotero and Mendeley, and maybe I use PubMed, to get stuff. And so basically, Protocol Builder allows you to download your reference libraries so that you can use them in Protocol Builder, and then Protocol Builder will do all the formatting for you. And the way you do it is actually pretty straightforward. You go to your tool, whatever it is. So this is a Zotero, which is like an EndNote knockoff. I pick my citations, the group that I wanted to export. I'd export this collection as an RIS file, and I just put it to a location that I wanted, new. And then what I do is when I go to here, up to the, so here's where I can save as draft or save as complete. So I'm going to go ahead and save as draft. By the way, here's one of our really great collaboration features, which is the ability to notify users. So what it lets me do is create a note. And whatever I want to say, and then I can pick people from my contact list that I want to send this to. Now, you can probably pick everybody, but that's a bad practice unless it really needs to be seen by everybody. You know what I mean? If you send your medical monitor 10 emails that don't have anything to do with them, they're going to stop looking at them. So, again, it's a good idea to pick just the people who really need to see it. So then I'm going to send notifications. I'm going to show you later that this is actually going to be all tracked in a needs review area. So, okay, it's sending that out. Okay, so, all right, so now, I don't know what that was all about, but I'll take a look a little later. But now what happens is I can go to the profile guy, and now I'm going to bring in some references that I just did. In one of the few cases we have a submenu, and this is under the profile person, I would just choose the file that I want to upload. So I would go, for me, I keep them in my, sample reference files. You would probably keep them in something around the subject you were doing. You would click on it, open it, and it would download them into your repository and Protocol Builder. Then what would happen is you would go, now you're actually back in your editing area. And what we can do is I want to put a reference for that. I would go ahead and hit the reference, and now I have my repository, and I would just go out and pick the reference. Now, if I have a lot of references saved in here, I can just type in some terms to search for to narrow down the references. I can take a look at them, and then I can go ahead and insert it. And what happens is once I insert it, I can take a look at it and edit it and do further things with it if I want, and you can see how it's done. So it's a really, really nice way to basically do references. We can also do footnotes, very, very straightforward, and we can bring in tables. So you down here in the list of tables section, there's a utility to load the tables that you want to load for use. And then what you do is I want to load in one of the tables. I just pick the table that I want to load and add it in, and it'll go right in there for us. Now, we also support, appendixes. So you can actually put appendixes. You need to put the title because it'll actually title the appendix in your document and then link to this, to your attachment. So it's a really nice way to work. So, so one of the other features I want to show you, oops, why isn't that okay, is I'm going to show you the compare revisions functions of Protocol Builder, which are really amazing.
Can we do just a really brief pause, Neil, to see if anybody has questions at this point? Any comments,
absolutely.
Questions?
A quick question. Can you export your output? And this, you might get to this later, but can you export the output and then further modify it if there was something special that you had to do that wasn't fully supported by your tool?
Yes. So basically, Protocol Builder gives you, PDF and Word outputs at any time. You can, do that. Some things would be, we wouldn't recommend you edit them in the document separately if you want it to show up in the flow of the rest of the document. So when I close out, you'll see what I mean. You know what I mean about other versions and stuff. But the answer to your question is yes. And it's easy, nothing special.
Can you just,
does that make sense?
Can you cut and paste tables and figures into the sections that you were just showing us? I'm unclear about that.
Yes. So what you do is when you want to put in a graphic, okay, you can cut and paste text just with cut and pasting text. But when you're cutting and pasting a graphic, what you do is you basically set it up as a table, and then you can download it. So what happens is like the study guide. So it's one of the reasons we do that too is sometimes you'll use this in more than one place in the document. But does that make sense? Like
the flow diagram, I understand that, but okay. I think I understand what you're saying. So individual tables,
if it's a
cut and paste, but then figures we should upload.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, you can cut and paste text, but if it's a graphic, of some sort, then you want to treat it as a graphic and then treat it as a table. Unless it's just something really small, like sometimes people just copy over like certain scientific characters or something, but if it's a true table, that's what that's for. And again, if I'm not clear about anything, just either let me know or I'll happily deal with it offline or do it by email. Those are good questions. Any other good questions? Or bad questions?
So we haven't gotten to this, but let's say that you have, I do clinical trials, and let's say that I put in my application to NIH, I have to include the full clinical trial protocol with that. Then the awarding institution comes back, the awarder, the person who's giving me the grant says, your protocol looks good, but we need it in a different format. Can I just take all that and switch the format? Or do I have to cut and paste from my original into a new format?
If they're we happen to support the NIH, grant protocols. We have those. And they're done differently because that's what they want. So if you have an existing protocol, like in Word, that you now want to convert over to one of these NIH protocol templates, you're going to have to cut and paste it into our template. Your content, the template's there, but the content. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying. My question is if one was switching between templates within Protocol Builder. So for example, I just submitted a phase 1/2 study, right? Phase 1/2 of a drug under an IND application. So, and that's done through NIAID. Typically, they want things in the DMID, Division of Microbiology and Infectious Disease format, which for some reason is peculiar to DMID. If I do it in standard NIH under an IND phase 1/2 study format, DMID may come back to me and say, okay, but we want it in a different format that's found in Protocol Builder. Can you just switch it over? Do I have to individually cut and paste the sections into my new format? Or is there a system where I can just say, take all this content and put it into this new document?
Based on what you're telling me, we don't have a tool to do that because nobody's really even asked for it, to be honest with you. This is something that's never been asked for. Although what I'm interested in is how many of those type of special studies are done. Is that a rare study or is that a common kind of protocol?
I don't know. It's all I do, so it's not rare to me.
Well, the reason I ask is, and Joanne and Stephanie can tell you, we actually create new templates as needed. I mean, again, nobody's asked for this, but it doesn't mean it can't be done.
Okay,
We may need it. We may need it. So, the other thing you can do is, again, this is not the ideal way to do it, but if you want to, just have the stuff in the app, to them, and you don't want to get it all in the protocol builder, you could probably output, take the output from the original report and swap it, on Word, I guess, with the other stuff, if you just want to make it easy rather than, using the system completely. And I'd be happy to do a call with you offline, if you want to maybe look at this stuff.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Any more questions? Okie doke. All right, so let me show you. So I was starting to show you the compare revisions, and this is something very, very different than the way, let's say, Word would do it. So what's happening is if this was my more current version, it's going to compare it against the last completed, version marked as complete, or if there's not a version marked as complete, which green is signifying that, it'll be in tan, which would be the last one marked as a draft. So what you're going to see is Protocol Builder is going to use, colors, to show you like what's been added, if it was deleted, what was deleted, in red. So it's just very, very visual, very easy to see the differences. And by the way, we can actually pull up any other version we've ever done, and we can compare that to the most current version. So let's say we're working on a new version, but it's not ready for prime time, and the principal's going to have a meeting tomorrow. We can make the previous version the current version, but since Protocol Builder saves all my work, I can later go back and put the newer version back in if I want to work on it further. So it's a nice tool in that way. Another really, remember I mentioned the needs review feature, which you can also get from the main menu at the bottom. And basically when I use remember when I used that function to assign, I did the collaboration, this is showing me what was done. So here's the one I did 9 minutes ago. I happen to do it to myself, but you can see Belinda Ha sent me something. So what I can do now, this is what I need to, what I'm being asked to do. And now if I go edit it and then mark it as complete, it's going to go ahead and put it into my completed area. So it's a very nice way to manage, the tasks and stuff that are rolling within the protocol. All right, so now we've been, as we're getting, a little thin on time, I want to make sure we cover the other key aspect. Oh, by the way, I forgot to show you too, where applicable, we have a sample text function. So if the NIH or somebody else created sample text for this area, we offer it, they can go ahead and insert it or just look at it for an understanding of what they're trying to do. And down here, we can put in our, appendixes, we title them, we can have as many as we want. We can put some notes here too that also, again, will go with the protocol file, but are not actually registered. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark this as a draft. I'm going to skip notifications because don't need to do it, just go faster. By the way, you can turn notifications off and on at any time, because we did learn recently that, people only do collaboration about 5% of the time. So we want to make it easier and less clicks, when they're at that. So you can turn it off and then turn it back on again later whenever you want to turn it on or off. So now what we've done is we've, created, we've got a lot of things created. So let's now talk about outputting this protocol. So the gear wheel handles all the output, okay? We have a number of different types of output. One is preview protocol, which lets you see the protocol laid out as a whole. Okay, so now I can actually see and I can edit it from the whole document. So this would, is nicer than, let's say, outputting it to Word and then comparing it against the screen. I can literally see, because a lot of times things may look fine when you're doing it on a section, but when you see the way it all flows, you may find that you feel differently about it. So that's why this is a nice, and again, you can edit right from here, or you can use the chat windows right from here. So that's preview protocol. I can also basically invite to review, which I can pick anybody from my contact list in Protocol Builder, send them a note, and it'll send them a link to this protocol. So, hey, please review this protocol. We're almost finished, or whatever you want to say. Then we can print PDF or Word files basically at any time just by printing here. You just click on it, and then you just give it a location and such, and you're in good shape. Now, let's talk about how we would actually complete a protocol complete and compliant. So what we want to do is we would now come to the front page here, and now I'm going to click on something called the checklist. So what I want to do in Protocol Builder is I want to have green circles on the cover, synopsis, and the numbered areas, which means that all the subsections have to be completed. If a subsection is not, done, it's gonna show it as not being done. We do not allow you at this time to just forget sections. We're thinking about it, but we don't want to do that too easily because unfortunately, if you just delete sections, it might be one required by the IRB. So, we're being very careful about that. So what you need to do now, at least, is make sure you, finish all the areas so that you get green things throughout. So once you have green circles throughout, then you go through the checklist, which are just the things you should be doing anyway. Looking at your cover page for accuracy, look at your appendices for accuracy, everything else. So once you've clicked through this, then you basically can publish a version. And the normal chain of events is this, going to the box. So draft basically is version 1, and the protocol list is only going to show you the most current version. You can get the older versions by going to the current version, but again, we don't put them in the list here because you shouldn't be working on older versions, right? So draft means basically version 1. If I go through that procedure I just showed you from a draft protocol, it'll create version 2. So the normal chain of events is you go through that procedure I just showed you from draft, you publish it, you create version 2, you open up that version 2 right away, and you basically print it. Print it as the Word or the PDF document you want. Okay, turn that in with your, to the IRB. Now, the way the chain of events normally works, hopefully they like it just as it is. But if they come back and say, well, we need you to make changes, which is why we don't recommend you do the editing off the Word document, is then you would open up version 2. You would then address the subjects that they want you to address. But then you can use one of our really cool functions, which is the summary of changes, which what it does is it catches the changes in this version from the last automatically and shows you what the differences are in colors and gives you the place to edit in a rationale. So what's really nice about that is then when you do your actual protocol itself, here's one you can see, it's very pretty. It's another nice thing that people really like, especially from they're going to be well organized and look good and be smart. And you can see table of contents, all the stuff's being created for you. And as I get into the end of the document, you can see my references it's set up for me, and then you can see my summary of changes. That was just very, very, very visual. So that's one of the real nice benefits of using Protocol Builder, in its versions throughout. Okay, well, I think I've covered a fair amount of stuff. I'd like to answer any questions I can, and again, I'm happy to answer anything offline or do another conversation with those that need it.
Also like to remind people you can enter any questions you have into the chat, or feel free to unmute and ask your question.
So if there are sections that are not applicable, particularly like on NIH protocols, even the NIH guidance for the template say, if this section is not applicable, please delete. You said that we're not allowed to do that in Protocol Builder. Do we just write not applicable under that section?
Yeah, exactly. Just N/A and they've looked at it. We actually worked with the NIH when we created that template. So they said they're the ones that helped approve it.
Great.
It sounded like you said that you had that there's like a library of boilerplate language from which you can select items, sort of?
Well, when you say boilerplate, so we have sample
Standard
text
language.
wherever it's appropriate. Okay, we have sample text wherever that's appropriate. We also have things like standard language. So like we have certain language for confidentiality that we offer, but we use, but then we use your organizations and stuff like that. So by the way, that's put in advance. That's kind of one of those things too, by the way, like the Protocol Builder, like your Protocol Builder administrators would put in your confidentiality policy. You don't have to worry about that, and it'll always be the right one.
So
then for
if you have liver cancer here on our example. So if I do every liver cancer study I have this X language for the background section for the disease. I want that in every one of my studies. Is that in the tool that I can just click and automatically add?
Yeah. So again, with the limited amount of time, I didn't want to go over every possible thing you do. So we have a mechanism which they call cloning. So for what you can do, and one reason to do is for what you're talking about, variations of a study. You know what I mean? 12 variations of the same study. Or another way it's used is like maybe pre-setting up residence protocols. So what we do is you would open up the core protocol, and then you would write in the sections that you want to, standardize. And then you can save that, and then you would I would just call that up. You know what I mean? And you use, like, if it was this one, it's a little hard to see because we just did stuff for accessibility, but this would allow you to clone it, and then you could make, your 11 other variations of the study without having to redo everything.
And that's at the organization level, not at the user level? Like that's set for everybody?
No, this is at the user level.
Oh,
This is the user level. Yeah, this is the user level. You can set up your own. And of course, so another thing that, again, the organization can choose to do, and we've talked about it, we do offer custom template creation. So in fact, we're doing one for Children's National now on the IND one. So, if that ends up being, and they're not that expensive to do those customizations, and they're good, and once you do them, they can be used many, many times. So, if that becomes an issue, that's one of the things we offer, is that kind of flexibility.
There's a lot of really cool things in this. This has been very useful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I so appreciate everybody's time. Well, again, I'm happy to take any additional questions, but I think I'll pass back to Stephanie. Again, appreciate everybody's time and interest. And if you had more questions, either directly or through Stephanie or Joanne, be happy to help you.
Thank you so much, Neil. Please, anybody, feel free to take advantage of these last minutes to ask any other questions. What I'll do is...
Stephanie, can you show us how to get to this on the CTSI-CN website, please? I don't know where it is.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I was about to do. Neil, if you could, or maybe I can just share directly on my screen. Yeah, question. Go ahead. Any other questions? Go, please.
I'll stop the share. That'll be the easiest way.
Hi, thanks so much for the presentation. Just checking, is there an NIH grant builder? I mean, we go through so much to make sure we have all the documents correct and all of the, it's such a hassle every time we do these grants. And I just wondered if there is, talk about simplifying all of that and having, so just throwing that out there.
Well, from Protocol Builder's point of view, and again, that's not we actually offer the NIH specific templates for both clinical and social behavioral, so it makes it easier for a lot of people.
Right. All the different documents associated with it, though, like the facilities, the institute, all the different documents that get submitted every time you do. Yeah.
Of course.
Right. So I think that's a really good point. I know we in the CTSI have some boilerplate language. When you mention facilities, that's something that we can support with, for example. Otherwise, I think it's a really good idea, and I'll definitely relay that if it's something that we hear from researchers that is useful. We will definitely take a look at that. Thank you for that.
Thanks. And great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. So just really quickly, in this slide, I have the link to our websites. It's ctsi-cn.org. That is one of the ways that we can get access to Protocol Builder, and that would be the easiest way. So if you go to the ctsi-cn.org /Protocol Builder, you will get a page which includes this information right here. How do I access this resource? And there'll be a link to each of the access points for both institutions. And I can show you maybe very quickly in terms of, I know that for children's, you click here, you'll have a very short interest form to fill, and then you'll get access to the tool. And for GW, you can either go through there or access the Office of Human Research website. And I would assume everybody's very familiar with this. We have a link to protocol builder right here. So if you see it here, we'll click, and this is the screen. This is the screen you will get. So those are our access points. I can also show very quickly so you can see it live.
Stephanie, we can't see it.
Oh, you're not seeing my screen? I'm sorry. Hold on.
Seeing you.
I've also put the link in the chat if you should want to visit it on your own.
Let me see. Okay, do you see it now?
Yep.
Okay, great. This is our CTSI webpage. You go to resources, tools here at the bottom, and then protocol builder. And then you will see this part of it that I just showed you. How do I access? And you'll click on either of these two. So those are our access points to the tool. And just very quickly, do you see my screen now?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Oh, we lost it.
But you have a lovely smile, though.
Okay, let me try this once more. Okay. Now, do you see it?
Yeah.
Yep, we got it.
Okay, great, thank you. So I just wanted to give a really quick sort of commercial of things that we have going on for the CTSI. There is a COVID-19 voucher award application call, and all of this information you can find on our website. So if there are awards of up to 4K for shovel-ready projects around COVID-19, we encourage everybody who is interested to apply to that. We have a health equity seminar series on recruitment of minorities that is coming up towards the middle of November, and that'll also be promoted on our website. And just a quick reminder for any REDCap users or potential users that we have an online REDCap training now that is very, very user-friendly, and also encourage people to take a look at that. To finalize, please contact us if you have any ideas or any needs. We would love to support you. If you have any questions regarding Protocol Builder, we also welcome you to contact us or contact Neil directly. These are your points of contact. You can either use our CTSI-CN navigator's email directly, or Joanne Wilson at Children's National and myself, Stephanie Salazar at GW. We are your points of contact for Protocol Builder, and any questions or comments regarding that, you can contact us directly. You'll find that information also when you access the Protocol Builder webpage. And if there are no more questions or comments, I would thank everybody. I see one question on the, oh no, it's the link to the website. So any other questions?
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you,
Thank you
Neil.
very much.
We appreciate it.